Would doubling your monthly income make you feel safe? This is an extremely common and extremely dangerous illusion. If you currently make $5,000 a month, you think making $20,000 would solve all your anxiety. If you currently make $300,000 a year, you think making $1 million a year would finally let you sleep at night. But the brutal truth is this. For 90% of people, an increase in income does not create security. Instead, it pushes them closer to the edge of a more fragile system. Today, we are not talking about mindset. We are not selling motivation. And this is not emotional therapy. We are talking about physics and finance. We are going to take your financial structure apart like a machine and show you why high income is often the beginning of financial disaster. Most people understand wealth in a straight line. Work hard, get promoted, make more money, save more money, then finally feel safe. Inside this logic, people confuse high cash flow with risk resistance. That is the biggest mistake. In personal finance, there is a well-known pattern called lifestyle inflation. When you make $5,000 a month, you eat cheap meals and rent a small room. When you make $50,000 a month, your brain automatically upgrades what it calls reasonable needs. Now, you need a high-end car for transportation. You need a large mortgage. You need clothes that match your status. The core mistake is this. You think your higher income has increased your absolute wealth. But in reality, it has only raised your consumption baseline. You did not become richer. You simply became a more expensive poor person. Now, let's look at the real mechanism. Why does high income not equal safety? Because you ignore the nature of income and the rigidity of expenses. First, active income is extremely fragile. Whether you make $300,000 a year or $1 million a year, if it comes from a salary, it is active income. The underlying logic of active income is using your time and health as leverage. It is not your asset. It is your company's asset. If you get sick, get laid off, or your industry enters a downturn, that income pipeline can be completely cut off within 24 hours. High income does not mean you have real financial blood flow. It only means your current selling price is high. Second, expenses have a one-way ratchet effect. Your income is flexible. It can drop to zero at any time. But once your expenses rise, they become rigid. The real mechanism of financial safety has never been about how much you can make every month. It is about how much you must spend every month. When you use fragile high income to support hard, rigid expenses, such as a large mortgage, car payments, and private education, you are putting a noose around your own neck. Real security is determined by your survival runway. The formula is survival runway equals liquid net worth divided by monthly fixed expenses. Under this mechanism, even if your income is high, if you do not change your financial structure, your survival runway may still be only a few months. Now, let's look at two extreme examples. Case A, the high-income tightrope walker. Mr. Zhang is a director at an internet company. He makes $1.2 million a year, with about $80,000 after tax each month. This is clearly a high-income person. But is he safe? He bought a luxury home worth tens of millions, with a monthly mortgage of $40,000. He drives a Porsche with a monthly car payment of $10,000. His child attends an international school, costing an average of $15,000 per month. Add property fees, insurance, and the respectable lifestyle expenses of his family, and his fixed monthly costs reach $75,000. Every month, he is left with only $5,000. From the outside, he looks successful and glamorous. But from a structural perspective, he is an extremely dangerous high-leverage node. Once his company lays him off, his cash flow will break within 1 month. To keep this massive money-consuming system alive, he cannot afford to get sick. He cannot afford to quit. He cannot even afford to say a single no to his boss. His high income has become the perfect hostage taker. Case B, the low-income system defender. Mr. Lee is an ordinary employee at a state-owned company or a private company. He makes $150,000 a year, with about $10,000 after tax each month. He does not chase lifestyle upgrades. He lives in an old apartment and drives a used car. He keeps all fixed monthly expenses at around $3,000. Every month, he saves $7,000. Over the past 10 years, he has used all of his savings to buy low-risk, income-producing assets. He has accumulated $800,000 in liquid funds. Now, let's use the formula from earlier to calculate his survival runway. 800,000 divided by 3,000 equals 266 months. Even if he loses his job tomorrow, and even if he cannot find another job at all, his existing assets are enough for him to live safely at his current standard of living for 22 years. Who has more real security? Who has more confidence when facing his boss? The answer is obvious. The biggest scam of modern consumerism is that it packages purchasing power as security. It makes you believe that as long as you can afford an expensive suit, and as long as you can afford to live in a busy city center, you have escaped the dangerous bottom layer. But that is only an illusion. Remember this. What determines your survival is not how much money has ever passed through your account. It is whether your financial structure has enough redundancy. Income is flowing sand. Assets are the foundation under your feet. Do not trade your youth and health for expensive consumer goods. What you should be buying is the right to say no to life at any moment.